Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gray Area here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network, simulcasting on the Sparta HQ Network. I am Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner, as always,
This is Sparta!
the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Panayotis Yasu. My brother, what is going on? Didn't I just see you not too long ago?
Yeah, I'm exhausted about you, my man.
Man, I'm telling you, yesterday was a handful, and I know for you especially because you had the early start. You had to come out to me, and then we spent the day in the city. So yesterday, Peter and I, and this certainly one of the I think the blessings are certainly the platform, certainly Black Men Unfiltered the platform and whatnot. It's just how it's brought certain individuals together, and certainly I had the pleasure of spending yesterday with Peter, our guy, Big Bear Paw David, certainly in the city. We went to Comic Con, and so that was this for the second year in a row for me. Now for you, I think it's 15 years and counting. I believe is
Yep, 15 years.
Unbelievable. Except for those COVID years, yeah, you pretty much been every year. Shout out to Mariana in the building tonight. Thank you for your support as always. Make sure when you guys come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly as you come in, certainly appreciate any support that you may give us, and then especially, also consider dropping a super chat or a cash app to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Again, this platform has done so much for us, so we really appreciate the platform to constantly bring you this show. And anything that you want to give to us personally, our individual cash apps are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So so we make sure you do. We appreciate any support that you give us there. But yeah, I mean, it started for you. I think it started at 5 a.m. Yesterday. You got up.
My alarm went at 5 a.m., but I'm a very heavy sleeper, so it takes me about an hour to get out.
I got you.
For example, I think I showed you in the car yesterday.
Yeah, see, I'm a three snooze guy, right? I'll hit snooze by the third time I'm ready to go. But look at this guy here. That is all of his snoozes. So you just kept
every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes he was setting the alarm for him to get up. Wow. Now is that every day? Is that just your morning routine? That's
my normal routine. My normal every
that
day.
is your normal routine. Oh man.
Yeah.
Nah, three I'm good. I think my snooze is about 9 minutes per. So I usually am able to get up and get myself together by that time. But yeah, so again, very exciting day, but I would say overall it went smoothly. I think we had an issue when we got to the city, and certainly I want to put that parking deck on blast. I don't know the exact name of it, but you
New York City parking is the company
you prepaid for your parking in the city, and when you get there, you get an excuse that the lot is full and they didn't want to give you your money back. That is foul, and so we want to put those guys out on blast. Certainly. Avoid those guys if you can, because that was just out of pocket.
Usually last year we had a similar problem, but not as major. So we get there, the guy goes, "Oh, parking's full. I have reservation." Oh, okay, never mind. He goes, "I'm still gonna park you." They had room in there to, they had to move cars around and have to, but they were just being fucking lazy. Those goddamn fat fucks.
Yeah, no, that was totally out of pocket, for that. So, but definitely. But we found another one. We got into a spot, and it was pretty easy as for us to get around. And honestly, it was half the cost of what you paid for the for the reservation at a time. So it was relatively cheap overall compared to where we were. So just overall, it was just a better spot. So we'll know that for next time. Certainly when we go in there, but yeah, we certainly we get there, and also I had the privilege of bringing one of my oldest friends. I've known my guy Eric, known him for 40 years. Going all the way back to high school, and so certainly it was his first Comic-Con, and so certainly it was a privilege to take him, and also for David, I think it was his first Comic-Con. So it was like you were kind of taking care of David, kind of taking him around, and certainly I was taking care of Eric. In that space as well. And it was just a joy of because
this was my way of saying thank you to my team for all the hard work they put in the whole year. Between you and David, even Eric in the comments, you guys bust your ass a whole year. At least I can done that. And we had a very interesting conversation on the way back, if you remember. And it's up to you if you want to share it or not. I'll leave that up to your, up to you if you want to share it. I'm okay either way if you want to share that conversation.
We had a few conversations, so you have to dial me in. But I think
about how much I give out. Yeah, how the bar. How
Well,
high
yeah,
the
I mean, the one thing about Peter, right, and I can honestly say this just from the personal interaction, because again, a lot of times you don't know people just from YouTube or whatever, and your friendships in the social media space. But I've been able to see how this guy works up front, and the guy is extremely generous. He's stubborn. He is the constant prankster. He is he's got a lot of things to try to get you in trouble, but he is very generous, and he certainly has a heart for the people he cares about, his family, his mom, his friends. He's a very loyal individual, and I just saw just the way how he just took care of people, like, and even me, like, I don't want to put out money or whatever, but it might be fair to say I earn him, but he would not let me pay for a lot. I mean, I'm like, here it is. Let me pay for this or that or whatever. He's like, look, I got it. So again, very generous with his time, with his resources, and so he's just a genuine guy. And I was just out talking about how certainly I just pray for you that you find that the woman that you can rock with. Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you flowers because you would be so good for so many women out there that to have a family or whatnot. So
it took me a lot of years to get to where I am. It was a lot of hard work.
Mhm.
And my backstory. A lot of you guys know my backstory.
Mhm.
I don't have family.
Yeah.
I am lucky enough to call you part of my family.
Yeah.
Dave,
Yeah.
CQ, Big Jake, who was there.
Yeah.
Even Eric. I know Eric is the newborn of this family.
Yeah, Eric's calling you his little brother, right? He's like,
I got a kick out of that one.
Eric's like, I never had a little brother. It's like, now it is. So, but again, I think that the best use of, like I said, social media platforms, when you're able to meet up with people who you meet through these virtual spaces. Like I said, I'm that's the best use of the platform of social media in general, when you can develop real friendships and relationships that you may meet with people from all over the country, and certainly I look forward to meeting more folks, certainly in the BMU space. I know R Payne, we've in fact, I need to reach out to him. We haven't had lunch in a while, but in the last year we were to have lunch together, and again, it was my pleasure, to certainly take him out to lunch, and but it's just good, and I think overall it's just better for the product. I mean, when you develop these relationships, you know how people are. And one thing that I'm always looking to do also is just a vision of mine is to have, we can have some more live shows where it's like the two of us rather than just in this platform, but we could be like in a room, like you see these podcasts where you got a bunch of guys on the couch in a room or whatever, and just going around. Yeah, like in a studio with multiple cameras or whatnot. So
that's the plan. At the end of the day, as both platforms grow, I know BMU has his direction with his show, and Spotlight Institute has our direction going. It doesn't matter which direction both networks go, but I believe we can link up at some point and have it in studio full conversation.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't start throwing chairs at each other.
Yeah, but I think that's a dynamic that I'd like to see more of, more in studio, in person, and again having a meal, breaking bread. I like the shows where they're eating dinner together and they're socializing and whatnot, and it becomes obviously it's like a family app, or like we talk about the barbershop. So again, I know BMU has this barbershop show on Friday nights, but what if we all kind of get together like in a barbershop setting and talk shop then? Those are things that I certainly look forward to. But tonight's show, because one, we're exhausted from Comic-Con and whatnot, so we decided this show became a big opportunity for us because this is our call-in show. So certainly anybody who wants to jump on the platform and say hi to us, certainly you're more than willing to come to the show. So again, gray area call-in show. I'm about to drop the link in the chat. So anybody who wants to come up again, we must see your face in the background before we let you up. And if everything's good there, then you certainly come up and again chop it up with us. You can either talk about a show that we've done in the past. So between shows, the last 3 shows that we did. So 3 weeks ago, we did a show on gambling. Then we did a show on healthcare specifically in the U.S., but also we compared it to other healthcare systems across the country. And then last week we talked about energy and just how different countries, where they get their major energy from. So, nuclear power, renewables, coal, and whatnot. And what does the future look like? And do we need to, start looking at more alternative sources, or do we need to ramp up the nuclear? Because again, there's countries that I know France gets almost 80% of its energy from nuclear power. It's a very clean source of energy, but I know there have been some accidents, historic accidents, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, that have happened that people get a little skittish about it. But overall, it's a fairly efficient energy source. So do we need to go there versus just going on these fossil fuels, and especially in an economy that's a lot of the oil comes from Middle East, and that could be any hiccup there, and then you start to feel it at the pump. So just different shows on those topics. Like I said, I really about the gambling show. Very interesting in that just the money that people spend on gambling, whether it be lotto tickets. I talked about my dad and his obsession with knowing that he was going to hit the big one day. So he always put a lot of resources into pick pick 3, pick 6, and lotto, and things of that nature. And so any shows or any things that we've had, and there were a few guests that were on who talked about, hey, can we join the show? And we were saying, we'd like to have a show once a month where we allow people to come up, but we really focus on having the show under 2 hours, usually under an hour 50 specifically. So we typically don't allow people up during that time, but now you have your opportunity. So again, the link is in the chat. If anybody wants to hop on and join us, for conversation, you're more than willing to, to come up and do that. And, so yeah, join it. But in the meantime, yeah, we're going to chop it up a little bit as far as, again, the Comic-Con. Again, this year we were able to enjoy it a lot more because last year we were basically reporters. So it's my first Comic-Con, and I find myself essentially being a reporter. So I missed quite a bit of it, and
also don't forget my little hiccup of oversleeping too.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was major. I mean, maybe missed an hour of it. But again, it's so big. It's really hard to capture all of it in one session. I mean, you have the vendors. You have hundreds, if not thousands, of vendors on the main floor that are coming in, and then you have the artists section, authors and artists section. That's a massive room on the lower level. Then you have your autograph signing section where people are standing in line. I mean, when we got there early in the morning, people were already lined up, dozens, if not hundreds of people lined up for certain guests that come in and whatnot. And then you also have panels. There were a lot of shows that were going on upstairs. The Jacob Javits Center is an enormous structure. In fact, Eric and I, we actually went over they had a big Lego that was like created of the structure. And they just talked about how it got started and how they've added on to it, expanded over the years. So the last expansion was in 2022, but they did expansion in 2012, 2014, and it's just a massive venue for
It's
all
funny you
kinds of
mention
events.
that,
Yeah,
because in the last 15 years when I've been going there, there's always some kind of construction in the last couple of years. The last 2 years was only 2 years, so no construction because
Yeah.
they were always building it. Because the way the Javits Center works, you first walk in and you can go upstairs or downstairs.
Yeah.
The main floor is really nothing there.
right.
So downstairs is the artist alley, like you mentioned, comic books and drawers, authors, all that stuff is downstairs.
Yeah.
Next there is the autograph era, is all those people, and further next to it is the photo ops. If you want a very nice professional picture, and they're not cheapest pictures, it can be start as cheap as $100 and can go up to
Yeah.
$200. The professional
Yeah.
depends on who the guest is.
Yeah.
But on the main floor is all the action. And now over the years, I've seen a lot of those people who are guests, they're sign autographs or meet and greet pretty much, are slowly moving away from downstairs or going to the main floor,
Yeah.
the showroom floor.
Yeah.
And they have booths all over the place. So you're playing a scavenger hunt pretty much, or finding a Waldo. So you're walking around. Like, good example, me and David were walking. He goes, "Hey, it's the Godfather." I didn't catch my eye originally, to be honest.
Right.
And he goes, and I cracked a joke. I'm like, "Where's your cigar, dude?" He goes, "Here it is, but it's not a cigar." Hint, hint. You know what that was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a cigar. It looked like, a weed pen.
Yeah.
So and when he turned into his booth, like, when I looked at David, like, Who's the Godfather? And like I thought when someone's dressed like them, and so I didn't connect it because I'm just going at this point. Like I took a hard left. I got in his booth and I started talking to him.
And the Godfather, for those who don't know, again, this is from the WW, I guess from the WWF days. I guess it's the Attitude Era. So he, the character, the guy who played the Godfather and whatnot, with his, I won't use the word, his women. I'll just say that.
Will you use it?
No. but yeah, there's a lot of wrestlers there. Sergeant Slaughter. I'm aging myself here. So Sergeant Slaughter was there, whatnot, and so David, he got a picture with him, and he actually put David in the Cobra Clutch, which was pretty. Cool.
That was my second time meeting Sergeant Slaughter. The first time was a couple years back with my cousin. Very nice. I can't deny. He also had the same picture. He only gives at his booth. You can't buy it online. It's a Comic-Con specific. Yeah. So it's him and Cobra and I can't remember who else. Hulk Hogan. He's smashing their heads together. Mm-hmm. So if it's a special price for that with an autograph. He does a little special art. Really good experience. Mm-hmm. And it gives you the belt and he puts you on a Cobra Clutch. And so I asked the agent, like, how much, for a picture and all that stuff. And he goes to me, I can give you a special. I'll give you the coin with 5 pictures. I go, I just want one with my buddy, and then the rest is his. He goes, I gave the coin to David because I wanted him something that had back. Remember? And I go up to Slaughter, I go, hey, Sarge. And like, he goes, what's up, Mike? No, maggot. You go, like, how much would it cost me if you put a little extra pressure, a little pain on David? He goes, for you, nothing. I'm like, okay, I like that free extra. Like, so David, you see David's fucking face turning different colors. He goes, I'm like, you son of a bitch. He goes to me. I didn't know David can turn that purple. My first time, so I know. We got to go later. We're gonna go over that in a minute. But it was a great event. This is like out of 15 years, this is the best one in 15 years I had.
Yeah. And the one thing that blows you away, especially if you go in there for the first time, is just the sea of humanity that is there. Like Eric, he's gone to like local smaller shows, like the ones they do it like at a hotel or something like that, and smaller convention halls and whatnot. But even he was kind of taken aback by so many people, and it is as diverse a crowd that you can think of. It's every ethnicity you can think of, imaginable. Political. I mean, you had guys with MAGA hats there. You had folks who, liberal leanings, whatnot. You got people who are professionals, doctors, lawyers, very smart, intelligent people who are dressed up like full costume, full cosplay. They go all in, all ham on this. And, it's almost like it's a treat for these people to, sort of express themselves in different ways. You go there, it's like you see people in the hallway and people just say, hey, can I take a picture with you? And
that's how they get their names. Some of them became very famous and make money by taking pictures. So you saw booths like you saw one, like you looked at me like, I'm a married man, Pete. Don't even think about it. I'm like,
you kind of have some scantily clad ladies there. So I said, look, if you want a picture, with them, I'll take one. But yeah, I was staying away from the scantily clad lady booths and whatnot. But
that woman you saw, she was a professional cross player. Mm-hmm. So that's what she does. She makes her money by taking pictures, not us, paying them. Professional pictures on like Comic-Con's website or magazines or advertisements. That's how she makes her money.
Yeah, but you have people who were there who like put that they're just average people, you know what I mean? But they put so much into their design. Like you had a lot of guys who like, the Ghostbusters fans, and they put so much into they got the full, proton packs on the backs and, really authentic looking gear. And
it's funny you said that actually. When we were meeting the Ghostbuster, me and David, because I want to get autograph for myself and for one of my guys, Angry Elf, because he couldn't make it. Mm-hmm. And I promised him I'm getting them, but I know the cons. Like I promised him I'm going to try to get you a shout out or maybe a phone call or something, but there's no guarantee. He knows that. Mm-hmm. So if the line was like nobody, I would have threw the dice and tried my luck. But it was like not a long line, but it was like a medium line. You were in there for at least 10, 15 minutes. Not bad line.
Yeah, and that's
So-
good because again, some of those lines, like I said, the line is like 100 people in the line.
Oh, I'm gonna go over that in a
waiting for
second.
certain people.
I'm gonna go over that in a second. So when the guy in front of us, we're just bullshitting, and he's talking about weight loss, stuff like that. We're talking about, and I go like to him like, "Yo, that pack has to be heavy. Like this is He had a whole Ghostbuster thing,
Mhm.
and he did a little modifications for his own company. He's part of a Ghostbuster clan in New York City.
Yeah.
He's local, and he even said it to me, like this takes time to build.
Mhm.
So he literally took that pack, he took it off right before he went up there, and he had him sign that.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty cool because he signed that pack.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Now with the lines, that wasn't a big line. Think about it.
Mhm.
The biggest line we saw there yesterday, if you really think about it, was Ronda Rousey's. I can't
Ronda
pronounce
Rousey.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like when we split up, all of us split up, our own ways for a little bit. I said, "Hey, let me jump on online. I'm trying to find I'm looking right, I'm looking left, like, well, the fucking line ends where it begins.
Yeah.
That's how big the fucking thing was."
Yeah.
I end up meeting with CQ. CQ goes to me, "Yo, I got to talk to Rousey really fast. She promised me some stuff for my show, giveaways." I went, "All right, sweet." He goes, "Dude, it's a big line." Like he looked at me, "You're cute. I don't do fucking lines. I'm a press, and I'm an injured veteran. They're really gonna put me in the same line." Like, hey, good point. As we're going to got up there, they were shutting it down. She's the only person I've seen in 15 years. They had to bring state troopers to escort her out of the building.
Yeah, very
I have
powerful.
never seen that in 15 years.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see.
like I said, it's a major. It's certainly on the East Coast. It's the largest sort of convention of its kind. Certainly on the East Coast.
Correct.
San Diego. That's another big one. I don't know what's bigger, New York or San Diego, but that's another
San Diego's bigger.
Yeah, because
They're
that's also where you
manufactured.
get a lot of. If you have like a movie premiere coming out, like the latest Avengers movie, you usually get like the first trailer is going to play there or something like that. I mean, it's like a
So-
really.
I'm gonna cut you off again in 1 second. So it goes both ways. San Diego and Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con are the two biggest events of the year. San Diego kind of launches the beginning of the con series, and New York ends it. So by that said, so I talked to CQ. He went this year to San Diego, and he said to me, "The San Diego is a little different."
Mhm.
I went, "How is different? You technically don't need a badge, really. What do you mean by that? All the events you see is outside. All the stuff, we were buying, collectibles. If you want to meet a specific actor, that's when you need a badge to get in the center.
Mhm.
So it's different. So I could literally fly out to San Diego this year, or next year, I should say, because it's the end of the year, and go to San Diego CQ and not get a badge.
Mhm.
And if you have one badge, you can trade off if you're a press pass, because press pass is not in code. Now it's a personal pass, is a little different. But say we have press passes. I go, okay, we'll go for 4 days, me and you and David and Eric. All right.
Mhm.
Okay, you want to meet this person, this person? Okay, you go for a few hours, trade off, and I'll go in later, and so on and so on. Everything else, the convention stuff, are like the press passes, the panels, is not in the center. It's actually at hotels and everywhere else. So that is actually a different world. So now in New York, you definitely need a pass. You cannot get in there. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing, people are trying to buy your pass as you're walking out of there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they got scalpers. Well, I wouldn't necessarily call them scalpers per se, but they're just people. It's like, I need a pass. Like if you're actually leaving. Now, again, I don't know how they do that because usually they typically scan your badge and, technically they can ask you for your ID because each badge is coded to a particular person's email address.
They don't really check IDs too much. Those guys who scan you in and out, they scan you. If they find a reason to check your ID, that's why this year was different. If you're leaving, don't scan out. They told you.
Yeah.
Last year you had scan in and scan out. That was the difference.
Well, we did the same thing when me and Erica were together. Like in order to leave, because in fact we asked because it like I said with so many people that I just want to get out and get some air. So we literally said, look, can I leave and come back? And she said we have to scan you out. So they allowed us to scan out.
Yes,
we went outside. And then we were able to come back in. They scanned us to come back inside.
If you were coming back in, you had to scan out.
Yes.
If you're leaving for the day, don't scan out because
Right.
the badge gets deactivated if it's a 1-day badge.
Right. Right.
Or they get, they're saying, okay, you're trying to come in, but you didn't scan out. I thought you were leaving. What the fuck is going on? That's where flags come out. Like, okay, let me see your ID now. That's how they catch those scalpers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even yesterday, we're walking away, and somebody, your boy Eric, somebody's running, can I have your badge? And you're like, fuck you, it's my badge. It's mine. Fuck off, pretty much.
Yeah.
I usually ignore them personally, but each their own. But my point is trying to get to, they're trying to, these badges can go for a lot of money on the street.
Yeah, because the badge, I mean, to get in, I mean, the ticket to get in is like $100 for the ticket itself. Again, but where you're going to spend your money is once you get inside and start buying.
It's actually
it's like $80, and then you add in, to ship your badge and all that kind of stuff.
3 I bought for us. For insurance, just in case. The lanyards, I always like getting the lanyards just so we're, I collect my badges as memories. The badges came out to be under about $250 so about, I think, $80, am I mistaken? The tickets are not expensive. They're really not expensive if you really think about it.
Right.
But when you get it in there, that's when you're going.
That's where the money is.
Yeah.
You'll spend. I mean, people come there with. Exactly. You will spend a ton of money in there. Now, again, I go in with a budget because I'm not a big, as Peter is as far as autographs and whatnot. Pictures, it depends on who it is. But more so, certainly I like the panels. I like, and just the fact that I saw Sergeant Slaughter there, that was enough for me. Did I need to take a picture with him? Not necessarily, because again, and depending on the popularity of the figure, some people want $30, some people want $60, or they do the combination with the photo and the picture or whatnot. It's $100. So again, there's all kinds of people have different price scales depending on what they are. But I've never been a big.
I like the last comment really fast. I want to answer that. So my collection of autographs, yes, is a hell of a collection. It's I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames right now, and 2 more pending, and they're about 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about eight autographs per frame, maybe 9, maybe a little less. My newest Pride of Joy, and I'm gonna pop it out in a few minutes. I got, and you know how excited I got this with Paul. This was one of my highlights. Was I got the Metal Gear Solid whole cast assigned the Foxhound's flag.
Oh wow!
That alone is a fucking challenge. And I'll be honest, I kind of cheated a little bit, and I had a little, I asked them ahead of time, like, you guys mind signing this? And they asked me, you leave it, we'll all sign it. And they signed it. And CQ kind of like put his little inch, like, hey, I'm part of the press. Can you do this, my buddy, a favor? And they pull, the guy goes, for you, CQ, because we know you, we got you.
Yeah.
So that helped me out a little bit. So kudos to CQ on that one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he does a lot of work. Certainly himself to build, but he's also generous in letting other guys get on. So, like I said, last year it was kind of a like I said, surprise. Oh, guess what? We're going to be in the press and whatnot. But again, he just his thing is like, look, you only learn by doing. So just get in there, make some mistakes or whatever, and just kind of ad hoc. So you're in there with people who do this for a living. You know what I mean? Like, this is how they make their bread and butter. They have blogs, and I know our guy, Jedi Mike, I know he's getting into that space really big. His channel is really growing, and he goes to a lot of the movie premieres, and he does reviews and things of that nature. So he's doing very well. In fact, he might have been there. We never got a chance to confirm that. But
when I asked him, he said he was not going to go to New York.
Okay.
I might be wrong. But let me ask you a question. Last year was a culture shock for you. Was it as a culture shock this year?
No, because again, obviously with everything else, like I said, I think the crowd was much bigger though. But again, the fact that we were upstairs for a good portion, we were up there for like 3 hours, so I didn't get a chance to kind of, I didn't get a chance to, kind of see like all of it as thoroughly, like, because the plan for me and Eric was, especially since it was his first time there. I was like, let's just go survey the floor. Let's just go into all these different areas just to kind of see what this environment is like. And then those things that we want to go back to, we'll circle back to a particular location, but I didn't want because again, you don't know if you know, God willing, if you get another opportunity to go, you don't want to miss something. So I felt last year I might have missed a bit. And so this year I really wanted to focus on making sure that I at least saw or browsed or perused every area that I possibly could. And so this time I got to see a lot more. But yeah, like I said, I think that the big takeaway for me, again, the diversity. Like I said, it is literally anybody and everybody. It's almost like, you know, it's like a world within itself that's not that small. It's like you never know, because I think that for a lot of people in the mainstream, you might not want to let people know that, hey, that you're a comic book fan. Like really, like today, not that you read comic books when you were a kid, but you're an avid comic, or you're an anime fan, or you are into superheroes or different artists or whatnot, or just that side of yourself that you might not want, because in a professional setting, nobody wants you to see you in makeup and in a costume and looking like a child's cat, but it's a part of your personality. And so you may not want to share that with the mainstream, but in that place there, people have the freedom to
I'm going to
be
correct you right now.
to be these things. At least that I'm just giving my perception, but it may not be right. But yeah.
Back in the day, you were right. Now today, where how pop culture is, I have conversations with executive district chefs. I mean, like high-end chefs or GMs or all this stuff, and they say to me, like we get in deep conversation about X-Men, Batman, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, and they're like, you guys are into that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what? Because I'm wearing a suit. Can I be into that stuff? I'm like, oh yeah, good point. And people used to hide it, like Star Trek, for example. Star Trek people were like, don't talk about Star Trek because you're a geek. You can't be out loud. Now, everybody talks about Star Trek and Star Wars and all that stuff. It's very common now these days.
Some of it's gone mainstream. I guess I would say probably more of the extreme stuff. Like if you were one of those, you go to comic dress as one of the scantily clad anime girls or something like that. If you're a professional, you may not want those pictures to get out, because that might be something that maybe looked negative towards. So again, for some people, I agree that a lot more of people are being able to express this, and we know it's out there just based on the success of all these franchises. I mean, the Marvel universe, billions of dollars. Anime is such a huge market. One of the top movies out now, I think, is an anime movie that's making a lot of money. So we know that, there's a huge fan base for a lot of this. And I know and certain guys are unafraid to share their geekdom. Now, again, I'm talking about like developers and whatnot. Like you go to their desk and they're into all this stuff. I know this one guy I used to work with. He had WWE action figures up there. He had a championship belt up there. He had his dolls and action figures up there. So you knew in fact, I just went to, I had to go to Social Security office on Friday, and I'm talking to the agent, and he's got I'm at the booth, like talking to him, and I'm just looking. He's got all these WWE action figures and stuff around. So it's like, yeah, some people are unabashed with their fandom, and they don't care who sees it or whatever. It's part of who they are, their personality and whatnot. But some maybe, like if in a more professional, if you're more high up, if you're in management or whatever, maybe not, at least I haven't seen, maybe not that you might not want to share that necessarily to the general public, because again, perception of what it looks like. But
again, I disagree with that, Paul, because I've seen CEOs, literally the vice president of my company. He's all into that stuff too. He's like, he literally has wear badges, a Star Wars badge thing. And I'm like, you're into Star Wars? Like, and we're like, oh, cool. I have a Star Wars tattoo, and we'll start talking. It's very common now. People don't hide it. Even those people who do crossplay, they do it. And they're not ashamed of it. But now, if people are more ashamed of stuff like, oh, you did a sex video and it got out, that is something to be ashamed of, because you're okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, like some of the women that were there, and again, I'm not judging how they were dressed or whatever. If you're an executive, I don't know if that would be accepted. And I agree with Braxton that, yeah, a lot of that stuff is mainstream. You talk about Black Americans, Blurs, which I would consider myself a member of. In fact, I was talking to some of my guys in just sharing. In fact, I haven't even shared everything, the photos and whatnot that I had. So guys already hit me up, say, yeah, we need to go next year and whatnot. And but I'm kind of surprised that they're not on. It's like, yeah, I'm going. If anything, I would have thought that you guys would have been the ones telling me about Comic-Con more so than the other way around. Because I mean, these guys know more about comics and movies. That like they're like true believers. Like me, I've always been a fan, but not a fanatic. Like some folks are like hardcore. You know, the action figures, the collectibles, the autographs, they're all in. Me, I've been always sort of like a conversational level fan. I can talk about some things, but I got guys who forgot more than I know about certain things. They read every comic book. They know deep characters in detail.
CQ.
I only go in again maybe a 2 to 3 layers deep, and then I'm like, you got me, because I haven't followed the franchise that far down. So you know, for those guys, I would have thought they would have been much more on, hey, I'm going to Comic-Con or whatever. So when they found that I went, they were like, oh, you went? Oh, I want to go with you next year. So I'm like I'm the one. I guess the fact that I let out that I'm going to Comic-Con is almost like it made it okay, I guess, for them to go to Comic-Con. It was the weirdest thing, the reactions that I was getting when I told people that, yeah, I was going. I was in church this morning. Like, oh, you went to Comic-Con this morning? It's like, yeah, because I teach Sunday school. So it's like, the Sunday school teacher goes to Comic-Con. It's like, yeah, I go to Comic-Con. It's like it's, I'm kind of letting people know it's okay to do so. Yeah.
The old words, being a geek is hush hush, you don't talk about it. Is I'm talking, I died back in the 80s. Now in 90s and up, people embrace being a geek. I know a lot of people collect comic books, Pokemon cards, whatever you're into. It's very lightsabers, great example. I collect lightsabers.
Yeah.
So it's very common. So it like I said, it's, you don't have to hide it anymore.
Yeah,
like,
if
you're a cross player, I almost want to say cross player. That's nothing to hide, because it's a second Halloween. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Yeah,
That's why
I mean, look, I've been in corporate settings where like they encourage me, like, if you want to come dressed to work in a Halloween costume, go ahead. Some places they're a little bit more conservative. Yeah, we don't do that here, whatnot. But look, you know, if you want to, you know, bring some candy in or something like that, it's like, yeah, you know, it's fine. It's not a it's not a big deal. But you know, so again, I think it depends on your culture. If you work in a relatively conservative culture, some people would just refrain from sharing some of that, or they may not share it publicly. Like you know, folks that you may, you know, develop relationships with or whatnot, you keep it there. But again, to broadcast to everybody that you're into something or particular title. But again, some people didn't care, like I said, but typically those were people who weren't in a, like I said, in a managerial or executive position. But I know there's certainly executive, and obviously for a lot of these properties, especially when we did the interviews last year, there's a ton of executives there. I mean, these are money people, big time producers that are there. I had the opportunity to speak to a few of those folks last year, and it's just like any other business. It's like when you talk to them, they have a business mentality when they're sharing you know, on these things. So for them, it's just a business just like any other, and the rules of business don't change whether you're talking about Fortune 500 companies, you know, or trading or finance or movies or animation or gaming or anything else. It's you know, the bottom lines have to be met, and you still hear the business mindset when it comes to you know, when it comes to how they think of the business overall. We have a business here, we have an idea, we have an intellectual property, we need to grow it. How can we maximize it, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so all those things are going to be there. And yes, you know, could tell you there were some cross dressers there. There were guys who were dressed as women. There were women dressed as guys. Again, different characters.
A housewife, dude. You said wrong name.
I'm sorry. Yeah, a white school podcast. I'm sorry. But shout out to Catalia in the business. 4-1 Steelers are 4-1. So again, we're sitting pretty in the AFC North right now. So appreciate that. But yes, I guess white school, you'll find basically anybody and everybody there. You'll find some rainbow members there, like I said, but you also found some MAGA people there. So I mean, it's across the board. It's almost like your political ideology, your religion, like a lot of that stuff. Like it doesn't seem to matter in that space. And it's almost like one of the few places where it's like you can kind of for the day or for the weekend, because it's a 4-day event. It starts on Thursday and ends on Sunday. It's almost like you can let go all of that stuff, and everybody can just be a kid at heart to an extent. To Braxton's point, to be a kid at heart, to embrace that and not be judged for it. And so for a lot of people, they express it, and it lets you know that it's not just a niche. I mean, it's a big, you just don't realize how many people just for that one day who embrace this. And again, it's every ethnicity. I mean, it's
honestly,
it's one of the most diverse. It's just almost like the wrestling universe.
Community.
Very similar. There's a lot of crossover between like the WWE universe and this sort of comic anime type of universe. You can't classify somebody who will go to this, like who somebody looks like back in the day. You used to have like this image of what a nerd was, had the big square glasses and whatnot, and dressed weird and all that kind of stuff. It's everybody who goes to these events.
This crossplay, when it first became popular, New York Comic-Con, not New York Comic-Con in general made it popular. The thing with it originally was you had to make your own costume from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has become you buy your costumes online, most of them. So it is. Yes, you have some guys some dudes are dressed as Sailor Moon, and some girls who are dressed as Cowboy Bebop, for example. It's their own, like it's their own. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna even explore that topic too much.
Yeah. But it is there. I mean, just to you will see it. It'll be obvious to you when you're there. But the thing about these costumes, just getting back to the costume thing, you're right. Like back in the day, you have to make it, but some of you have actually these costume designers. A lot of these costumes look authentic. It got to the point where like you didn't know like some of the guys that were dressed up as cops, you didn't know if they were real cops or not, or security or not, because the detail in the work. So you can spend thousands of dollars on a costume, or you can just kind of do your own homemade thing or what have you.
Actually, you could tell a difference because cops have a different type of badge on them with their badge number, and 2, they're actually armed with a real firearm. If it looks like a firearm, you tell you got 2 choices. You can surrender to us and pick it up after the con, or you can throw it in the garbage. That's the only 2 options. You cannot bring anything that looks like a firearm,
like a real firearm. Yeah.
Unless
it's a Ghostbusters proton pack.
Yeah, that's different. Obviously, even a taser, like a laser taser, like from Star Wars, that's fine because it does not look like a gun. Like you have guys who are dressed like RoboCop, for example. He's not allowed to hit the prop that looks like a gun. Even the RoboCop, obviously, the thing is not look like the real Desert Eagle, but it looks similar enough to say, not coming in.
Yeah.
That's model after the Desert Eagle. It's like you get rid of it. Even like I saw a couple of guys who were dressed like Blade, for example. Their firearms are their fake firearm, the prop, not allowed to come in.
Right.
You leave that at the door. That's for our security and safety protocol.
Right. Now that being said, now again, for those characters, they had a lot of vendors that were selling pretty realistic looking props from the movies of different guns.
Yeah, but nothing as firearms. It was mostly swords.
Like that. No, but they had pistols too, like Han Solo's
again,
I said from Star Wars and stuff like that. Yeah,
not laser tasers. So or pistol or laser guns or whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about like firearms, like you're going to use for Resident Evil cross play or Blade. Nothing like that. Like it was one booth. You were looking at it. They had a real ass.
They had all kinds. They had all kinds of again, movie guns. Went from Blade Runner. They had a few that Eric picked out. From So again, it was, but those things were those kind of prop guns. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't look like anything that you would use in real life. Like you wouldn't look at it and say, "Oh, that's a real gun I could purchase." Some of the guns, like from Aliens, for example, those rifles that they were using in the Aliens movies. Certainly those were there as well. So you can tell that they were, again, movie prop guns, but again, they look very authentic. They were, they were kind of really, they were really high end. So I'm saying you can spend a lot to to build up. Now, I bought they had an official Star Trek vendor there, and I bought a jack. They had, like, if you remember Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, they had a the costume, like the winter coats that they were using in that movie. They had actual replicas of a lot of those coats there. I bought one that was very nice in design. They're going to mail it to me later on. But again, they were an officially licensed vendor for Star Trek merchandise. Very high quality stuff there. Very authentic looking gear and merchandise there. So you can spend a lot of money on those. And I think Kirk's jacket was like $300. And they allowed,
for example, if you remember, I was looking at those Captain American shields, and I really want one. I'm not going to deny that, Paul. I really wanted one.
Yeah.
But I have my
those were going like 600. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted like an authentic looking cap shield, 600 was like the low end.
Yeah,
but we got
about the money. I'll be straight with you. You know why I didn't spend the money that day? Because I wouldn't have enough money for dinner for you guys. Dinner was more important for you guys.
See, you would have see now you didn't say that at the time, but I would have told you. I would have had dinner. It wouldn't have been a problem. But we got our first guy up here. Let's bring on to the stage. We got our guy Anton, straight up Jersey, stand up. Good to be with you. So we're finding out. So why weren't you there? See, it's like all these guys. I was letting people know that I was there, and it was like, you were at Comic-Con. I was like, you know more than me. I was like, why weren't you at Comic-Con? So shout out to you. What's going on, sir? And you have some friends there.
I'm doing good. Peter, what's going on? I'm glad you guys had a great time at Comic-Con.
Oh, man.
Not much. People were friends. Like one of my friends I went to high school with, he took his son. It was their first Comic-Con together. He was dressed up as, I think, Mace Windu, and had his son dressed up as Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
and
lots of
yeah. And the person that I mentioned in the chat, this is a guy that I knew growing up as well. He graduated with my brother from grammar school. We went to the same high school, and he goes every year. One year he went as Blade, another year he went as Predator, and he has the actual suits itself. Yeah, he has the actual suits itself, and he has a couple motorcycle helmets. Different designs. He has at least 2 motorcycle helmets designed to look like the face of the Predator with the locks. And he actually has 2 helmets of the face mat of the helmet that the Predator wears, one in black and one in white. And he's very popular. And there are times you see him riding his bike in Jersey with that helmet on, with the layout and everything else, locks and everything. Yeah. And I think each helmet must have cost around well over maybe between $500-600 or more to have those custom made. And then another time he went, I think last year he went as the Shredder. And he actually did get the autograph of the actor who played Shredder in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, people go all out, with these things.
Yes,
So again, but it's like I said, it's that time of year where you can kind of let go of any shred of what society generally will think of you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And really just be express that side of yourself. And like I said, what's really cool is that the people themselves are so generous with, like, you're just there to express. People can just walk up, hey, that's a great costume. Can I take a picture with you or whatever? And people are just so willing just to share on, and you just take it. They don't want money from you. They're not saying, hey, follow me on IG or whatever. It's just it's just the joy of people just getting together and having this festive time.
And it's funny you say that, Paul, because I had a conversation when people do this. If you go up to, let's say, I go up to you, hey man, you have a great costume. Can I take a picture? You take pride of that because you made that. Yeah. It was one last year. No, not last year. 3 years ago. He was on stilts. It was like the Swamp Thing, and he was moving around and everything. The poor guy, because he's like a ghillie suit, he almost passed the fuck out. They had EMT.
Wow.
Yeah. So they put him in a corner because that's what he was there for mostly. He goes around the country and does that. They put him the right under the vent, so air is blowing up under his nose to cool him down. And like he didn't think about how hot it gets in there.
It does. I mean,
I remember
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I remember one video. There was a guy that actually got dressed up in the Iron Man Hulkbuster suit, and he showed how he put it together and how he would put it on. and he was like the person. He was like the person in Comic-Con in that 1 year. I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. This guy literally wore a Hulkbuster armor, put it together himself on stilts. I think he must have. The guy originally, I think, might be like 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
And him wearing the suit, it made him stand up a little bit bigger than expected. But people were shocked because it was that realistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost like as if he took the suit from Mark Ruffalo and put it on himself. That's how realistic his Hulkbuster looked. It was just awesome.
Yeah, yeah. You had probably the most impressive suits that I saw was you had one guy dressed up as Bumblebee from the Transformers series.
Wow.
So his suit was pretty authentic. But then they had this guy Galactus. This guy had to have been like at least 10 to 12 feet tall. It was so, I mean, real. You could see it from like I'm walking, like, who is that? Or whatever. So you're walking up, and he's got the eyes, the lighted eyes and everything or whatnot. I'm like, man, you have got to be hot in that thing. Because I got to a point where I was like, look, there was like at least twice I was telling Eric, like, I got to go outside. Because you're passing, it's like you're passing so many people. It gets hot, bro. And downstairs was crazy. It was hotter downstairs than it was upstairs, because upstairs on the main floor is where the entrance and exits are. So I'm like, let me get out of here and let me get some air. But it's like, in fact, not only was I getting hot, I was getting sick. Because do you ever feel like, though, like when you're in like one of them car washes where the car wash goes over you, you feel like you're moving, but you're not. You're just standing there. So I was getting this vertigo thing going on because I'm looking, like I'm trying to first of all look at what's coming up. So I'm looking at where I'm at and whatnot and just different. But I'm feeling motion going. So it's almost like when I'm in a car. And like because I'm a passenger in a car and my head is down and whatnot, I start to feel a little car sick. I got to keep my head straight up. And so it was like I was like, what's going on? It's like I'm getting the same feeling. It's like, well, it's like what's so again, I said, all right, let me get outside, let me get some air and whatnot. But it was so many people, and it was just a constant. And we got there early. We got there by before 11, right, Pete?
A little past 11.
A little past 11.
No,
by
sorry,
1 o'clock.
10:30.
It was just pouring it. It's like it was just so hard just to move and just get around people. And I'm talking about the people like in costumes. You had to be careful. I mean, people had like long trails on their suits and whatnot. You didn't want to trip on anybody or whatever. So maneuvering it was just on another level. So yeah, but yeah. So you've never been. So you've never been. I haven't. You got to do it, bro. So okay. So we gonna do this because like I said, all these guys are reaching out to me saying like, yeah. So we got to get a contingent. We got to get a blurred contingent together next year. Plus, I haven't met you in person yet, which I'm certainly looking forward to doing in the near future. And we just got to make this thing happen, and let's just get a bunch of guys there because I was
beginning of the year because I can put you on my list when I order the tickets because I got a VIP access pass because I've been first dibs, the pre-sale, they call that a VIP pre-sale, and I can put you on that. But what I was gonna say is this one guy I met. I'm gonna actually share my screen of this one, Paul, if you give me access.
Yep.
And this guy I met 3 years ago. He is actually a military guy. This guy right here. He's an active Navy guy, Air Force. I'm sorry. He builds legit Iron Man costumes from 3D printing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he goes. He not only is a full Air Force person, he's also a full-time crossplayer. On top of that, and people call him, can you make him a costume? Like, no way. It's too much time to actually make a full armor. A helmet takes him 6 months to build. That's how long it takes.
Yeah.
And this stuff isn't a long time there. Yeah.
6 months?
Yeah, because he has all the wires in it, the lights come up, the voices, microphones in it. He does everything. It's literally only thing it does not do is fire beams. It does everything the real armor does. Like the helmet goes up, goes down. If you when you watch it, his helmet literally he looks over and goes straight down by himself. He doesn't put his hand. It literally goes by itself. Now they make them like that online on Amazon, but you can look over and he just goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's talent.
Yeah.
That's talent. I mean, the thing I like about Comic-Con, like you said, like you guys are saying, it brings a lot of people together. It don't matter your political affiliation, your beliefs, or anything else. Like you said, Mr. Man, you just leave it out. You just leave it at the door.
Yeah.
You go in, you have fun, you have a great time. It's bonding with other fans of different genres and everything else. It's having the opportunities to meet the celebrities that are there too. Yeah. One of my friends was there. He got a picture of himself with Lawrence Fishburne. A couple years back, he got a picture with Hayden Christensen.
Yep.
So, he's just a big in different genres and different aspects. He even has a picture, I think he has a picture of him with Stan Lee before he passed away as well.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So he enjoys going and everything else. And like you said, I think now the fact that everyone is into like a lot of this stuff and fantasy and sci-fi, like I remember talking to someone at my job and we were talking about Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about the series Star Trek Picard. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I are big Trekkies as well. I mean, that was one of the things I think that bonded us when we got, when we started dating and getting married. Yeah. Thanks, Avery. That's my daughter, Avery. She says she likes watching Star Trek as well.
And that was, by the way, that was the biggest because they had panels. And me and Eric, we were contemplating, do we want to go to a panel or could stay on the floor and see what's there? Because like I said, we wanted to kind of canvas the place and then have those places of interest. There was a panel for Star Trek, and it's in the biggest room, but the line started probably at 12. It started at 2:45. By the time I got up there, it was already at overflow. Like there was a cutoff. It's you can't get in. But it was to highlight they got upcoming shows. I think this new Starfleet show that's about to premiere. Starfleet Academy is about to.
It's Starfleet Academy.
So how the panels work, Paul, so you understand how that works. So the press, like CQ, for example, he gets a bunch of emails when he gets the press passes first. Mm-hmm. So he picks I want to go this one. Then he emails the people who run the panels. Let's say Marvel, for argument's sakes. Mm-hmm. He goes back and forth with the person he goes to, and then eventually they agree. Yes, you're going to get access to the panel. Now, anything extra seating or goes to the fans.
Yeah.
And
you can also buy, I think you can buy VIP also. If you have a VIP pass, I think you can purchase that allows you to get.
It doesn't help the panels and all that stuff. He doesn't give you much. It doesn't give you a lot. It gives you very little access. For the money pass, if I will spend any money from the fast pass, the regular pass, fast pass, VIP, I will probably pick the fast pass over the VIP pass because I can skip the lines at least with that when I want to get autographs and stuff like that. But the VIP doesn't really give you too much access to anything special. The Golden Girl one, me and you had last year passes. It doesn't skip the lines, but you get a little extra treatment. Like, okay, I want to see this panel. Then you can be arranged ahead of time. I'm going to be at Saturday at 12 o'clock at this panel. Yeah, and so on and so on and so on.
But I know we couldn't even get a shirt because what Eric, he wanted just like the classic Comic-Con 2025 shirt with the logo. Most of the merch they were selling had a Halloween theme on it. He only wanted just the basic shirt because that's timeless. It's it's forever. You know what I mean? We went to the booth. They said that the only way you can get that, you had to buy a VIP ahead of time. You had to buy it at the time you got your ticket. I'm like, we got money. I'll buy it right now. He's like, no. Wow. So then you had to go into the line. Like I said, they had these other type of shirts, but they weren't allowing you to buy merch. So VIP or buying early definitely has some perks and benefits. Maybe what doesn't get you into everything, but it definitely, but it definitely would make a difference on some things.
Yeah, I'm going to push back a little bit because from what I've seen the VIP passes, it gives you a shirt, it gives you a little thing, but the price tag, what you're really going to get versus that is not much. So it's regular pass, VIP, fast pass, press pass. I prefer the fast pass over the VIP any day of the week because the fast pass you can skip the lines. Most times you're going to be in lines there.
Gotcha.
But the VIP doesn't really give you just saying you got a shirt. And the Comic-Con shirts, you're not allowed to wear them during Comic-Con because then you think you're part of the staff. So you have to you can't wear that.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
That makes sense.
That's good to know. But one of the things I definitely say I've always enjoyed about one of my friends go and they're posting their pictures on Instagram and on Facebook. It's just, the number of actors and actresses in these genres that are still popular. You got some fans who weren't even born when so many original series and so many shows and movies came out, and yet they're big fans of it because of their parents. Like I remember, like I said before, I was talking to one of my coworkers at my job. We were talking about everything associated with Star Trek, and he was asking me, "Did I watch Picard?" And I was like, "Yeah, my wife and I actually checked it out." I definitely liked season 1. Season 2 was okay, but I was definitely big of season 3 because even though that was the last season, that's when they had the band back together again, basically. Yeah. And especially within the last few episodes. And the one thing that I can definitely say, what made me appreciate the last episodes of the series is when you saw the cast on the deck of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
That was like the first time you probably saw them there all together in quite some time.
Right.
But what really brought it together is when the computer activated and you heard Majel Barrett's voice for the first time since she passed away. And I admit I cried because it just brought it together.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing videos on YouTube and people were posting comments about it. And I remember one guy was like, he remembers watching that episode with his dad and the same thing happened. Yeah. His dad teared up and cried when he saw that, and he was trying to understand why. Yeah. And I explained to him, for a lot of us in our mid to late 40s and early 50s, we grew up on this show.
Exactly. Yep.
This was part of our childhood. Exactly. This was part of our formative years.
Right.
And that's why it was that important. Mm-hmm. We always heard stories from our parents or from older people during the 60s when they talked about groups like the Beatles and how they felt when they broke up.
Yeah.
How they felt about certain music groups, certain movies, and everything else, and why it meant so much to them. Mm-hmm. Now I realize it.
Yeah.
I realize it now. And it just made it so well. Let me do this because someone's trying to get my attention.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, bro, thanks for jumping on. And hey, man, let's make it happen. Definitely, let's definitely arrange a hookup. And again, if we can make Comic-Con 26 happen and whatnot, let's try to shoot for that as well, man. But certainly look forward to meeting you in person.
This is the youngest of my clan.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how you doing? You like Star Trek? Like
say hi. She's just giving me that look down. Like say hi.
Hi. How are you?
She's being a sourpuss right now.
She is beautiful.
That's why.
But before you go, or I just want to ask just a general question on Pat, because Peter made the point earlier about the mainstreaming or how fandom has become more mainstream. Like back in the day, you didn't necessarily talk about that stuff, especially in a professional setting, but now it's kind of everywhere. How much influence do you think the Big Bang Theory had on popularizing or making that kind of thing cool? It brought, like growing up if you were an 80s kid, you remember a movie like Revenge of the Nerds. Like that was like a totally different typecast of a nerd thing. But Big Bang Theory, I thought, brought a lot of people out to say, hey, it's cool to be into this stuff and going to Star Trek conventions. And then they had guys, Neil deGrasse Tyson, guest star on. In fact, I met his co-host on his Star Talk show, Chuck Nice.
Oh, wow.
He was just in the hallway. So I just went up, I just introduced myself. I got a picture with him. Yeah, he was just randomly there. But I think that just bringing in, and you also had Bill Nye on that show, and just all these different people across the board. So how much influence do you think that like Big Bang Theory had on making nerddom cool?
In a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, because it wasn't just one specific genre. They will talk about a multitude of genres. If you were into Marvel, if you were into DC, if you were into Star Trek, if you were into Star Wars, if you were into anime, manga, anything that you were into, they talked about it. And at the same time, I give credit to the cast, because if you really paid attention to their wardrobes, the t-shirts they wore.
Yep.
The t-shirts, the hoodies, the sweatshirts, the belt buckles, everything said pop culture.
Yeah.
Any comic book you were into, any genre you were into, they talked about it, they emphasized it and everything else. And you got to give credit to the writers for putting that in there.
Yeah.
You got to give credit to a lot of people who put together their wardrobe to make them wear those T-shirts.
Yeah.
Wear the T-shirts or the jackets or anything associated with it.
Yeah.
Because what it did was, hey, it's okay to like this stuff.
Yeah.
It's okay to be a fan of, comic books. It's okay to be into sci-fi.
Yeah.
And what it also did
it was okay to be into science because, like I said,
exactly.
the scientists that they would have on,
yes,
that it made those guys pop culture, not
it
just
did.
in the classrooms or in the universities or whatever. So it kind of melded those two worlds together in a way that was that made it more accessible. And Tyson's always been accessible to me as far as his ability to communicate and whatnot. He always made it interesting. But just anybody who was on that platform, whether it be a legit scientist or not, it just made it like it's cool to study science or to be into science or to pursue those activities and whatnot. So I think the show did a lot to contribute to that crossover appeal that made it more accessible to people. So
exactly,
I really read that show.
It definitely did. It definitely did. And I tell a lot of people, if you really want to watch, that's the one show. Definitely, I would tell people if you're into all these genres and everything else, and you want it talked about at the mainstream level, this is the show. Mm-hmm. Watch The Big Bang Theory, and they always found a way to pay homage to a lot of people in the multitude of genres as well. Yeah. So you got to give them credit. I give the creator, the writers, and everyone else on the show who had something to do with that show to make it successful all that time for all those years. You got to give them credit because you can tell they did their research. Yeah. And more than just that, they just went out there and just said, you know what? This is what we're into. I want to let people know this is what we're into. And hey, people respond. That's great. If they don't, so be it. But either way, they put it out there and made it say, hey, if you're into this, it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother. Well, listen, you can stay on if you want to. As long as she's cool, you're free to be a part of the conversation still. Stay.
Yeah, I'm about into the background trying to hear something. I'll be back on the Just give me a minute.
I got you. You got it. But shout out to our guy David. So again, certainly a pleasure as always to be in the mix with him as well. David, you there? You with us still? David, are you free? Did you freeze up on? You good? So again, it was good. It was good for you. That was your first time to Comic-Con. So any thoughts that you may have on your? Oh, he's still going. Okay, so we'll just keep it. So Pete, I'll just kick the question to you. I don't know if you were a fan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. All right. So your thoughts on your first Comic-Con and just that experience there was great. Just being able to hang out and then the fellowship that we had afterwards. So just your overall on that. I'll just give you the floor.
I'll say this. I am glad I'm able to go to my first Comic-Con. I've been a fan of Comic-Con, even though I never got a chance to go to. I've known about Comic-Con for a very long time. I'm a big time nerd. I've known people who I've worked with. I've been to Comic-Con a couple of times. So me being there with a bucket list. I said, finally able to be there. Because when he mentioned the Big Bang Theory is nothing more than an upgrade of Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, for sure.
I grew up watching Revenge of the Nerds. 1, 2, 3, all the way to the last one.
Right.
When I saw Big Bang Theory as a regular broadcaster, I was saying, you know what? I think this show will let people know what nerds are, what is cool about it, what is unique about it. So when you look at every single episode the man mentioned, it referred to why a lot of people come to Comic-Con and express their passion, what they're into. Today, the Comic-Con we went to recently was a mixture of everything. We got comic book fan, we got anime fan. Some people have their own mix of their own view of cosplay, because I can tell either a cosplay original or a cosplay based on it, inspired by the comic book or anime. So I was watching it and I was like, okay, this is really cool. So watching some of the celebrities that came up there, some of the wrestlers that came up there, some of the voice actors, some of them big names, I was like, I wasn't geeky out so heavy. I was in appreciation. That there are people who appreciate the art, who appreciate the fandom, who appreciate the fan, because we ask some of these celebrities if you do one-on-one interview with them, ask them what they experience coming here every year or every other year. Veteran fan who love them for what they have done in the show they be a part of or the game they be a part of. I'm sure the hotel is very, very different from just being a Academy Award show. You didn't know people that who you inspire or who you have impact.
Right.
When I saw Ernie Hansen or Odie Hudson from the Ghostbusters show, I was grew up from the Ghostbusters show and the movies, right? When you see someone who had made an impact in your upbringing, some of the great shows you have watched, you kind of want to show nothing but respect for the work they put in.
Right.
Say, you know what, I'm glad you done what you done, because if you never done what you done, maybe they should not be in existence.
Right.
To me,
Did we freeze? Did he freeze? David, you still there?
Oh yeah, he froze big time.
Okay.
I'm a humble.
All right, David. All right, David, you're kind of freezing.
I see someone like that. I want to pay nothing but full respect to. Yeah, it's my network. It's my network.
Okay. All right.
The first time I met in person,
right,
was Kid and Play. When I worked with I came up with the I shook with it. I thought I loved to work everything. I would geek it out a bit because. Can you hear me?
You're just going in and out. You're freezing up. You're freezing up a bit.
Oh, he's froze completely now again.
Yeah. Just want to give shout out again. The foursome of us. So it was the four of us. Eric. So our guy Eric is.
So I'm guessing that the case will couple have a gig.
All right, David. You might want to go. You might want to go out and come back in because, like I said, you keep locking up. So if you want, try to go out and come back in and see if we can rejoin the conversation.
I'll come back.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah, but Eric was so again the thing. Now you're good, bro. But the great thing about it was the four of us. So again, it's almost a tradition now. So we go to
I'll be right back.
We go to Brooklyn afterwards, so it's like a tradition now. We go to Brooklyn. So Peter has this Greek restaurant that we go to. Now, I forget the name of King Soulaki, I think is the
Soulaki, Malaka, Soulaki.
Soulaki, King Soulaki. Look, my Greek is rusty. Yes, very rusty. But yeah, so we went up there and it was just cool, just us just hanging out in that space, just breaking bread with one another and whatnot. And so again, Eric, it was just really very heartwarming to see the time that he had, because now Eric, he's more of a literary guy. I mean, he's into a lot of the genres that we talk about, the anime and the superheroes, but he's also into literature and authors. So he was able to meet some I know there's this one fictional series, ElfQuest, and there's a husband and wife team that writes that, and so he was certainly able to meet those he was able to meet those authors and whatnot, and he was just talking about how much how much they meant to him as far as his literary but yeah, he's an avid reader, and so he's read a lot more than I ever did. So again, just being able for him to be able to be in that environment, that was really heartwarming to do that. Yeah, Wendy and Richard Penny were the authors of the ElfQuest series, so he was able to get an autographed book there and a picture and whatnot. Well, actually, we didn't take. I asked him if he wanted a picture. He said no, he didn't want a picture with him. But I was gonna.
He hates pictures, you know that.
Yeah, I was gonna hook him up with a picture of it, but he didn't want one. But yeah, I mean, so again, I mean, next year, certainly. Let's do it bigger and better. Let's bring a crew. I know some guys, like I said, friends who want to go, and let's just make a thing. Let's make a thing of it, because you also have the buzz you also hear. There was a lot of meetups there. So you had like a Ghostbusters meetup, or if you were a fan of a particular anime or something, you hear these loud crowds like in the hallway, like they just congregate in a corner, and they're just making all this noise. It's like a big rally that they have.
They even have gunplay, Gundam building models, table set up to buy the Gundam model, and they go and build them right on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's show some pictures, bro. Show my screen really fast.
Yep.
All right. Here are the from the Power Rangers Dino Charge series. Great people. I'm like, they're really nice. I have obviously Sergeant Slaughter.
The Godfather.
Thank you. My brain just froze really fast on me.
Yeah.
Zeka Fatu, great guy. He was super nice. His agent was taking a picture, and he took a lot more pictures than I expected. And I saw that later. The Hurricane.
The Hurricane. Yes, I met him earlier too. Yep.
Yeah, Slaughter again. You
Yes,
see David's face when I asked
the
him,
Cobra clutch. Yes, put him in.
and he put it on. He really put it on.
Yeah.
Man, at his age, and David's face was turning in so many different colors. I'm like, yep, that would do it. That would do it. Another AEW, really nice guy. Another Hurricane. Another picture of the Power Rangers. We were bullshitting with the guy for a little bit. He was signing autographs.
Mm-hmm.
Another AEW guy. Man, I keep forgetting his
Savio
guy's
Vega.
name.
Savio Vega.
Yeah. Super nice guy. You know
Ernie
who this guy
Hudson from the original, from the Ghostbusters 1 and 2 movies. He was there.
Yeah.
The guy's in his 80s. He's in phenomenal shape. If you ever watch like on YouTube or whatever, the guy's over 80 and is in phenomenal shape. Still works out. I mean, he's a great inspiration to me. Like I'm hoping to get to where he is one day. But that was phenomenal. Certainly seeing him there.
Yeah. There's a little booth meeting David got into, so I took a quick picture there. Another Slaughter, Hurricane again. No. Trying to think of anything. Killer Cross and his wife. Super cool. And it was funny because he looks at me because he's allergic to cats, and the guy before him, he, as you're about to take my picture, and he starts sneezing, his wife goes like, "Oh, great, babe, you sneezed on this guy's picture. Now we're gonna have to refund him his money." They were just busting balls. When I got there, I looked up. I'm like, "Well, I thought you were fucking taller." His wife literally cracks up. Like nobody ever said that to us before. Wow. And she just laughs her ass off. And he goes, "You have cats?" I'm like, "No, I have dogs." And now we're just talking pictures. I'm showing pictures of Alex and my old dog, and we're going back and forth. That was pretty cool of them. This is one of the guys of the side of the flag. This is my flag they're signing. And obviously, you guys ever recognize CQ over there with his hand? Another one that they got, and it's just some repeats now here because I took a lot of pictures. Another two AEW guys, they were pretty cool overall. I asked these guys to come on the show. They told me, "Yeah, you gotta pay us." I'm like, "I'm good." I moved on.
Yeah.
Let me see what else we got here. Another Metal Gear Solid voice actor signing the flag. The funny part about this one here. So I told David he didn't take the first picture with me. So I told David, "Get in here, man. I'm paying for this fucking thing. Get your ass in here." So he sneaks in. He goes to him, "Do you know this guy?" Or you just jumped in your picture? Like, "Yeah, he's one of my buddies." He goes, "Oh, I was about to fucking curse him out right now." He goes, "I didn't know he just jumped in the picture out of blue." He snuck in like and he came in. And this is our group picture. Like Eric's gonna probably curse me out because I'm showing his picture here. This is our and that's all the pictures we have.
Yeah. No, it was. I said it was just a great atmosphere, and I mean, so I highly recommend if you ever have the opportunity to go back. Back there for the first time. Like I said, it's a relatively inexpensive ticket. Like I said, what you spend inside, you got to be, because especially with cash, it's easier to move around with cash because they usually waive sales tax and whatnot. If you do,
you can also go a little bit with cash. That's one thing.
Yeah.
There was one booth that really, Bandai booth. It pissed me off because there were some collectibles there. Mm-hmm. They're only from New York Comic Con. They're stamped with New York Comic Con badge, and I knew they're only can get there. And if you remember this, David, I'm talking about. And I picked 4 or 5. I think it was 4 things I wanted. It came out. It wasn't too expensive, like $220. Not bad. $210, $221 there. I selected him. He goes, I asked him questions about him. Like, yeah, these are this, and this. And he rings me up. He goes, all right, it's gonna be $220, $210, whatever it was. He goes, I pulled the cash out. I'm trying to count it. Whoa, credit only. I went like, excuse me? I'm like, credit only. I don't have credit. I have cash. What's the problem? Like, oh, it could be counterfeit. Like, excuse me? Are you being serious now? You can check that with a marker or a laser, and you can put it in the light. You can see the difference now. Mm-hmm. So
I think what the issue is. I think what the problem is, there's guys like that who want to track the money coming in. So when you do card transaction, there's a receipt, but also you cover yourself so in case of you leave the venue, know what I'm saying? Some people are paranoid. This is Manhattan Javits Center. If everybody know the history of New York City, you'll say like, okay, you need to protect yourself at all time when you're coming in and coming out.
Mhm.
Now, people who are veteran, they're not worried about it because they have their own personal security. They know how to get in and get out, and not worry about anyone trying to be slick with them. Now, when you mention someone asking for a car, not cash, because I'm watching everybody paying for cash.
Mhm.
I was seeing that. Almost every booth you go to, cash. And some people do both. They have cash on card, which I get it. You want to get some people want to carry money when paying card, and some people, and here's the joke. There was a section where you had like multiple ATMs just next to each other, ATM. I was like, why is it so close? Because everybody be kind of like paranoid, but like, so I kind of like get the environment. I'm a New Yorker. So when you come to a city like my city and a big event in the Javits Center, if you're new to this, you may be naive about it or you might be paranoid depending on what kind of person you are. For him to only accept card only, it could be security reason. Yeah, look at it that way because some people rather not carry cash around until you be like, have money with them because not every hotel have proper security. Depending on what kind of hotel you're going into.
Well,
That's
David,
good
it's funny you said that because that booth, the Bandai booth, that's the only one did not have a line. Every other booth, the vendors had a line out the doors. So he was losing more sales than anything. At that point in time we went, he should have been at least 85% sold out. He wasn't.
Gotcha.
So
and you're right, because no one clicking cash, they'll be having lines.
Mhm.
A lot of people booths who clicking cash, they have long lines.
Mhm.
People are coming to pay for right there and there and get what you get. Because I was seeing all kind of merchandise, all type of umbrella. I was like, okay. You got a section for the lightsaber.
Speaking of merchandise, my only gripe this year, it's almost like when you have Netflix, you have Amazon Prime, you have HBO Max, and you still can't find the movie that you want to watch. I kind of had that experience because what I was looking for was I was looking for anything GeForce, Gatchaman, Battle of the Planets related. Me and Eric, we scoured that place, couldn't find a single vendor for GeForce. I'm thinking that would have been like a slam dunk, as popular as that.
And this is why,
especially if you were growing up, and I couldn't
hear the
find
confusion. There was Comic Con. Most people be focused on to the comic book character, right? Some anime franchise do come over there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you
there were a lot of them, there were a ton of them there.
There's a lot of them. Yes, you're correct. But what you were mentioning for, I would expect that from the anime con because that is heavy anime. Yeah, there was Crunchyroll there. There was Toei Animation there. There was Namco Bandai there. Webtoon was there, and that was toward to the on the other side. So I was like, okay, they got a huge presence. So I put a team more and more. They also won the lead animator for Dragon Ball Z, but would be on the Toei Animation side, but on the other side by himself. And he only did to make money for himself. So I get it. There was some anime present there with plenty. But the GeForce, I was thinking that would be under a production company kind of thing. Because
but I'm just saying, but that was crossover.
Animation, they had a huge.
But I'm saying but GeForce is crossover. You know what I mean? Like as far as like there's a lot of anime that still, unless you're an anime fan, you would not hear of in the US. But GeForce, if you grew up, like I said, in the 80s, GeForce, Battle of Planets, Gatchaman, that's like mainstream. It crossed over. It was one of the most successful ports of an anime to US audiences. It's like Doctor Who or any of the, or like some of the BBC series, like Thunderbirds. It has that kind of appeal to it. But for some reason, they weren't featured either for. And again, the one thing about a Comic-Con audience as well is I talk about every demographic, every age group is there. Like the people who grew up on Star Trek in the 60s, people in their 60s are there. You got kids there.
So, David, I mean, Paul, as much as I want to agree with you, I'm going to push back a little bit.
Okay.
GeForce wasn't as popular as you think it was. If it was popular, it would continue.
Correction, it was, but here the issue. Our patent
Has died off, bro.
Let me explain why.
It was as
As I'm looking
popular as
at all
Voltron and
the
Robotech was.
production company that popped up there, including Mappa. Every production company, either on the manga side or anime, like got there, they had the booth for certain anime or merchandise they wanted to sell, right? And I paid close attention to that. Like, I was like, okay, I see the people who were in touch with the Jujutsu Kaisen, they had that booth for that particular anime because that's part of the production company that given license to put those things out there. Now, if you look at who owned the IP address, who owned the IP with the intellectual property for G-Force, that company wasn't there, or the associate company that put the associate with it, I don't think that part would have been there. Unless it was an agreed license, because remember, it's called intellectual property. You're not allowed to promote something unless you're given the agreement to do something. I was paying close attention to that because that was my first Comic-Con, and all I was doing is paying notes to everything. To Animation had that one big section, and it was spread out. I'm like, okay, Crunchyroll was right there. That's a streaming service. And they were doing the same thing too, promoting a whole different type of anime. But okay. I saw Mappa Studio. I said, okay. I said, and I paid attention to which were they showcasing, what were not showcasing. Yes, I was looking for G-Force, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I noticed
example, David,
on the company that was there.
Hang on a second, David. I'm giving you a good example.
Then
I'll give you an example. Like, if you go on Amazon, you're going to find one thing on G-Force. Everything else is DVDs. There's nothing on Amazon, and you can find almost anything on Amazon. Look it up. You don't believe me?
Hold on.
I have it up. I can share my screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because Amazon was there, Walmart was there, right? They were showing all type of products.
It's only one action figure, and it's $111.
So yeah, I'm saying,
the 2009 movie G-Force.
Right. I mean, no, but I guess my thing is this. I mean, I get it if it's private property or whatever, or you don't have rights to sell certain merch or whatever. But I would think you'd want to sell it there, like San Diego, New York, like you said, they're the bookends of the genre. They draw the largest audiences. Why wouldn't you want to be in that particular space? Now, I know David mentioned that there's anime specific cons that people will patronize, but I'm just saying, why wouldn't you want a presence there? And I get it. There's fees, that if you want a booth there, it's probably mad expensive to get a booth there. But I'm saying all those folks who are selling C-shirts of all these different properties or whatnot, it's hard to believe that somebody. So if you were found selling a Gatchaman and G-Force, that they would kind of flag you for selling property that you didn't have the right to sell.
Since you asked that question, the IP owner of that franchise is Tatsunoko Production, the creator also for Gatchaman. Now, if anyone was given the right to promote their product, they were given the right to do such a thing. Remember, we talked to on Jedi Mike about IP control. IP control is very, very crucial. So unless you are given an agreement to sell or promote their product or merchandise, it will be allowed.
Yeah.
But yes, they were selling comic book, and maybe you can find the comic book by chance. But when you talk about merchandise of that particular franchise, it's very, very unique to see if they will be coming out there to promote it, unless there will be a new production or reboot coming up.
And I also get but I also get that not every vendor is going to be there every time. Like last year, they had that big Dragon Ball Z set up there. They had the 20-foot what's that guy Roku, the big Goku up there. It was like they had like a 20-foot statue up, literally, like in the place. So I get it. Every year is going to have a different spin. Every year you're going to have featured guests and whatnot. But I would still think there'd be some staples. Like Star Trek is like like that. To not have a Comic-Con with some Star Trek something there would almost be like an anathema if you didn't have that there. So I'm just thinking that certain properties you should expect to go to Comic-Con and see something to that effect there. So, but it was like I'm flipping channels looking for something on Netflix and I can't find the movie that I want to watch.
No,
it can be annoying when that happens.
Definitely have a issue because of that.
Honestly, I think you feel like a kid in the candy store because there's so many things and you just then so like
You never would have thought in one place all the different types of genres that you're into is all under one roof, and you just like,
Yeah.
where do I start?
Yeah. Yeah, and Eric makes the point also. I think as far as the anime side, they might have been focusing more on newer titles because obviously it's a Comic-Con or those cons are also areas to promote new things that are coming up. So maybe they're not my focus on classes like Akira, for example. Like that to me, Akira is like what really that went to a next level. My man Eric, he showed me like Robot Monster City and Appleseed and the old school that came out. But when Akira came out, that kind of broke them as far as animation and graphics and whatnot, and that just set a stand. I didn't even see a lot of Akira stuff there. You know what I mean, so it. But it seems like
and here's the
they
thing.
focus
Remember
on-
what I say. Remember what I say. It's Comic-Con. When I hear Comic-Con, the first comes to my mind comic books. Yes,
That's
anime will
right.
pop up there. It will pop up because there's a fluctuator in between both sides.
right,
Because remember, it's a huge space.
right.
And I expect a lot more comic book fan chopper to pop up there in case there's a new production coming out soon. Because what I was seeing, they were promoting a new series that's coming up soon, like Jujutsu Kaisen, but be coming up soon by early next year, or the new anime production coming out soon, or the new manga production. They were doing that. Like you mentioned last year, there was a huge setup for Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah,
That could be the promotion for Dragon Ball Diamond that we did a review show about that. Because whenever there's an upcoming anime, they normally come on this event to promote, to
right.
get eyes on their product ahead of time
Right.
before it come on live. So I get what you're coming from. Now, if I were to get the chance to go to an anime con, I would like to see the difference between anime con and Comic Con.
Right.
Right. Start different between both sides.
I think Comic-Con
Anime-
now it's almost a it's like it's a brand, but it
So
goes
Comic-Con-
beyond the comics. Like you said, you would expect more comics there, but it's like Dunkin' Donuts, right? They don't even call it donuts anymore, even though it's still
It's just
sells.
called-
It's just there in name only, but you're not going to change Comic-Con because the name itself is an IP, but you're going to see
Right.
much more, like I said, movies, animation, merch. You're going to see a lot more of that, more so than the comics themselves.
Other
It might have
collectibles as
started out
well
that
too.
way, but it's grown so beyond that. But you don't mess with it though. You know what I mean? It's like
So,
no, we're
let-
not
let
gonna
give
toss
perfect
all
example.
these-
Hang on. So Comic Con is not about comic books anymore. That died a long time
Yeah.
ago. It's about movies, comic books, anime, cartoons, and meeting your favorite actors or voice actors or people like that. They have video games. I saw a shitload of He-Man stuff there. I saw a
There's a lot,
shitload
Mm.
of Tron. There are a lot of classics up there, but you have to find it. It's like when I
And
say
you're correct.
it's amazing. There is like Pictona's box is a small versus what this is. It's so much, and you're
Wow.
going to get a lot. It's
Now
so
I
much.
would say this: what was helpful. Now they did have an app that you could download. So the app it kept you up to breast in terms of any panels that was going on. It would have the times in which the panels would take place. Vendors, it had a list of vendors. Again, now you may not like you couldn't just look up like you couldn't type in Voltron, right? And find the Voltron booth. It wasn't going to give you that. It would give you a vendor, or you could put in t-shirts, and it would give you a list of t-shirt vendors. Now, whether or not they would have a Voltron t-shirt, you got to go there and check it out. And there might be like 4 or 5 t-shirt vendors, and then see, and you still have to ask what was there. So I would say this: the app, and I don't know how long the app, because I didn't use the app last year, but the app this year was pretty useful in terms of help you to navigate that space.
So one thing I would say about the app, they changed one thing this year versus the last 15 years. The app. One thing I do like about it now is, let's say you're looking for a specific booth. Let's say 452 and you're at 331. You can put where you're in and what booth you're looking for, as long as you know the number. And they usually, and when you select it, when you go down the category, it always gives you a booth number if you remember seeing that on the app call.
Yeah.
And we'll literally, it's a GPS built into it now. A GPS in the arena, go left, right, and everything. It won't tell you step by step, but it'll give you a map. Here you go. Here you go. Here, and here you go. And that thing I did like a lot.
Yeah, they did a decent job, and if that was like the first year that they employed it, I expect to get better
No, it's been out for
certainly-
years, but it's getting
Okay.
better and better and better and better every year.
Yeah.
But it's also getting bigger too. That's the thing. Also, it's
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's what some of my friends have told me. So,
Right.
while yes, I never knew they had an app for this, but then again, I'm not surprised because hell, it's 2025. Who doesn't have an app?
Yeah.
But also at the same time, because of the popularity of the genres and the fact that everyone has social media, people are going to post pictures of themselves at Comic-Con, whether it's in New York or in San Diego. They're going to post pictures of themselves with others in cosplay and their costumes. You know, they're going to trade info with each other on that. You're going to meet your favorite voiceover actors or other, you know, celebrities in real life as well. You're getting autographs. You're posing for photos. You're getting keepsakes. You know, things like that. You're talking to people about things you haven't watched in like God knows how long.
Yeah.
I found out there's a channel here on YouTube that shows a lot of the old 80s cartoons from
Yeah.
Galaxy Rangers to Silverhawks to Jason the Wheel Warriors to Mask.
Yeah.
And anyone who grew up on that stuff, you know, when I heard about it, I was like, so what Comic-Con has done, it's taken a lot of the things that we all remember from our childhood and finding ways to put it in a place for these 3 or 4 days. And it's finding ways to get interest, not only from those who've been into this for so long, but also what it's doing is it's letting people know, like you were saying before, like you guys were saying before, anybody that was into this stuff back then that were afraid to come out and be open,
Yeah.
hey, it's okay to be a blurred.
Right.
Because it's okay to be a blurred. It's okay to be a bleak.
Yeah.
And ironically, there were blurs and bleaks even before the term spawned.
Correct. That's right. And the crazy thing, also, there's an aspect. Now, again, yeah, I didn't explore, but I knew it was there last year. I'm sure it was this year. They're actually creating space for blurs and bleaks to meet, like, to date.
Nice.
Like they have
really?
spots set up like social meeting places because, again, I mean, you know, it's all like my wife is in any of this stuff. My wife will be like, "Look, go have a great time or whatever." I was like, but I knew my wife. She's not going to enjoy herself there. I already know that ahead of time.
So hang on.
But if you're single and if you want to meet somebody who, again, you have those interests,
right?
They actually have opportunities throughout the week, you know, social setups and whatnot that you can say, "Hey, you know."
No,
and you don't have to feel like you got to hide that aspect.
Hang on. So this it's called Geeks in Dayton. It's been going on for between I can't remember 10 years or 5 years. It's been gone for a while, but it's on Saturday night at midnight. Outside of the center, at a bar or hotel. I'm not sure exactly. I've never been to one. I was wanting to go to one, but I've never been to one. But it's like speed dating. You start, they set a table, you get to know, next. Boom, you talk to the person, next. So on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
It's been going for years now. I haven't heard anything good
more
about
of a decade. It's more of a decade. There are multiple good down.
I know it's more between 5 to 10 years, not more than a decade, David. Because
we know I'm saying that the first group started about almost 15 years ago, whereby they create that event ahead of time, let people know after the Comic-Con, meet up at this location, and it have been going on for a while.
So it's kind of like an after party.
Comic-Con.
Yeah.
You have to have a Comic-Con badge to get into this.
And that proof. You have to be sure that you have been there to be a part of that particular event.
Right.
Yeah. I know people.
That's smart.
Like I said, I've been with Comic-Con for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And when I noticed about it, they always had that unique event to people who coming from far and wide. There are people coming from California, Connecticut, Philadelphia, wherever.
That's true.
Come for that particular event.
Yeah,
that's true.
Year.
And it's all.
And
and
after
always
that, they already got the even ahead of time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with.
I think
again,
you email every found those anime groups. They give an invitation for that. Go be at the
really?
Make sure you bring your badge, but make sure you have your cosplay on.
Okay.
Yeah. Look,
that's
I'm
proof right there itself.
I say play in your lane. if you're wrestling, I tell my daughter is an avid. I mean, she's a WW. Now, look, I grew up on wrestling, right?
Mhm.
I go in and out. Like sometimes I'll watch now, and sometimes I know we went to a SmackDown at the Garden a couple years ago, whatnot. So I kind of go in and out with the wrestling. She's all in, especially on the women's division. So I'm thinking, you know what? You should probably hook up with some guys or some, because again, you go to like a wrestling show. It's the same thing. Every ethnic group, it says diverse
Yep.
families. It's anybody there. Find somebody who's into wrestling.
Yeah.
So you have it, having common interests on things that remind you of your childhood or that part of you. That's a good conversation. Yes, you still got to get to substance and character and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But like anything else, it starts out, do you have an interest? Like, don't be going to places if you're not into art history or whatever. Don't be trying to find somebody in an art museum. I mean, if that's not who you are, don't try to play it off like, okay, yeah, I got to be in these places. No, go to the places where things that you appreciate and that you can have a conversation about, because that's how anything starts. It starts with a conversation. And if you're into Mozart and I'm into rap and hip hop or whatever, I don't see how that works. I mean, I know they say right, but you got to have something. Like you said, Anton, you and your wife avid Star Trek fans. I mean, that's a great place to start. And I just find just people in those genres anyway, they tend to be very intelligent. They tend to be they have a lot of because there's a lot of even in comics, there's a lot of philosophy. There's a lot of, you can go in depth on a lot of things because these genres, they explore a lot of these human subject themes. Right. And if you want to see if somebody's deep, it used to be that, okay, I see a lot of snobs like in the literary space talk about, oh, well, you read comic books. No, if you read a lot of those comic books and graphic novels, there's a lot of substantive content that you can really explore. And it's just another literary genre. So I think people who can converse in those spaces is like, yeah, I mean, that's a good place. So yeah, if you can meet someone at Comic-Con and y'all can connect on that level. And I saw a lot of romance there, like couples in their 60s holding hands, dressed in whatever they were in or whatever.
That's awesome.
It's I mean, it's a great place. So I would tell these guys, it's like, look, I mean, go there with some intent or try to stay if you can. The only thing I think that with the Saturday night thing is like, either trying to stay overnight, in hotels in New York are expensive anyway. So trying to find
that's true.
All that overnight to stay for the after parties and stuff, that might be a little challenging. But
CQ, I'll put it this way: he books his hotel for Comic-Con a year in advance.
That's planning. You got to.
You have no choice, and that's the biggest reason why I haven't gone to the Geek and Dating thing, because I can't book that far out. To be honest with you guys, it's just too much for me.
Now let me tell you how deep some of these people really are. There's some anime group whereby they organize, whereby if someone live in New York and they got a house or an apartment, they'll tell you how much vacancy they have to house certain people of the group. But you had to be a long-term member of that group. Be able to be.
Oh wow!
So yeah, people say, "Oh, our house, X amount of number of people to come in my house." And you got someone to know I got it, and they organize bus. Okay, who will be in charge of the commute to take us over there?
Mm-hmm.
To do that in New York, to do that in California. Any major Comic-Con or anime event, that particular group, they organize way in advance.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get a big bus. So okay, we won't go into the Philadelphia Comic-Con or go to the one and if they can meet
like any other thing, it's
here,
like it's like I know the Steelers, like they be having arranged. I'm in groups. They arrange bus trips to Pittsburgh all the time. You buy your ticket ahead of time. The bus is leaving from here in New York or New Jersey. You drive out there, whatnot for the game. They bring you back. It's like a vacation package. So you got people who I would think it'd be the same thing for these times. If you want your ticket, your hotel, your the venues, the after parties, everything's included. You pay one price or whatever. I think that it makes sense to arrange that, because again, it is a happening. I mean, if anything, if you're the type of person who you like being in like happening events, New York Comic-Con is a happening. And
And the real cool thing about a lot of these groups that go to Comic-Con, I found this out behind the scenes. Like, for example, there's a community, like within Star Wars, there's a community of people that are stormtroopers that got the costumes and everything else. While they were filming season 1 of The Mandalorian, they ran into a situation where they didn't have enough costumes for some of the extras that was supposed to play stormtroopers. Word got out via social media, and one of the groups, I forgot what the group is called. They're called by a particular number, I think. This particular group heard about it, got together saying, hey, let's just show up, let them know that, hey, we got costumes and everything else. If you guys need help, let us know. The studio got in touch with this particular group. The group showed up with all their costumes and everything else, their own personal costumes. And they found a way to fit them in the whole entire series to film all the rest of the episodes where they need stormtroopers. You had a variation of stormtroopers in the old costumes, and you have variations of stormtroopers in the newer ones. But they found a way to put them all in to finish up season 1 of The Mandalorian. And I forgot where you could find it. I actually saw a picture of it. It was a picture of members of the cast from season 1 of The Mandalorian with this particular group. Every member in uniform without their helmets off, of course, but basically saying, thank you for showing up at such a last minute to help us out in finishing the series. And they enjoyed it. The people there, they would just happen to be there. They would just happen to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they got to be a part of it even though they were in the background, or they may have done a couple of things and maybe had like 1 or 2 word lines or nothing at all. Just the fact they got a chance to participate of something within the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. That's
like one of those things you're gonna say.
You can take that to the grave. You can take that to
exactly. Exactly. That's fandom. You're right. Yeah. You're right, David. That's fandom.
Never fanboy. They will be so loyal.
Yeah. Yeah. And other group and now the studios know, hey, if we run into a situation like that, let's look for groups in these areas. Hey, we need some people to play these roles. We need you guys to come on in.
Yeah. Let's start to certainly land the plane here. Again, we want to be respectful of time. We also want to play shorts and videos.
Every franchise have a.
Go ahead. Dave.
They caught on that every franchise have a unique fan base.
That's true.
Heavy. If Star Wars, Star Trek, yes. 300. Oh, get it. They go in. They have people waiting for the costume. So another have certain dedicated fan who will.
One franchise I was surprised that has a very strong fan base. Stargate.
Oh yeah,
they have a very strong. They have a very strong fan base.
Yeah,
no strong.
Yeah,
I got my wife into Stargate.
Yeah,
my fault.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we used to call a cult follow, like Star Trek used to be. They used to call it a cult following. Like
yes,
when it first went into syndication, it's a cult following because again, it's just amazing how the series itself. It's almost like NBC didn't know what they had. Right, it only lasted 2. Really, it should have went off for 3 seasons. But the fans had to lobby because they were going to shut it off. Then they got another season out of it because of the fans had written in to keep the show going on, but it just wasn't enough. And then it just blew up in syndication. But again, even then, it was called a cult following. But a lot of these cults have gone now mainstream, so it's just amazing.
But here's the thing: most people didn't know, Mr. Bennett. Who do you think were the individuals that helped Star Trek as well when they ran into that situation?
Pop culture.
Well, except the fan base was.
Well, no, like when the original series was filming. Like, who do you think was that provided the production? Who were the people?
I love Lucille Ball, Desi Loop Productions.
Yep. A lot of people didn't know that.
If it wasn't for Lucille Ball, there would be no Star
Trek. And Desi Arnaz, exactly. A lot of people don't realize that. While I always tell people, while Gene Roddenberry and Majel Barrett are the parents to Star Trek,
they had the vision.
Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz are the godparents to the Star Trek universe.
Oh yeah, definitely. No question about it. And it just goes.
I remember there was a Comic-Con event. I don't know what year was it. They had a bunch of fans of Star Wars doing a face with a bunch of fans with Star Trek. all Indian stand up and everything. And I was like this. I was geeking out laughing. I was like,
Really?
they're
Yeah.
doing it at Javits Center, posing. I'm like, okay.
Listen, guys,
Okay.
we can keep this going for a while. We really need
Okay, let's go to the final thought. Let's go to the final thoughts.
We got
I'll
to
make
land this
quick, I can
plane.
get out of here.
We can go into overtime on talking about Comic-Con, but I would just say as my closing thought is, again, had a great time. Certainly a lot to see there. It's a happening event. If you have an opportunity to go, definitely tickets usually come out in early June. You have to register first. You have to register a profile first, and then once they approve, then you can buy tickets. Buy your ticket, get there, and again, it's a great happening. And you're not going to get everything in one shot. That's the thing. I mean, if you go for a day, it's hard to sit in on all the panels. We didn't get in any panels. So again, the panels, the display booths, the autograph signings, you're not going to get through everything. So you may have to take it in bunches, but then I would also say budget well, because again, you get your money, especially if you bring cash, your money could be gone in minutes. So just be very careful about the money that you spend there. But it's a happening, and certainly with especially on the Sparta HQ Network, we're going to be promoting more such events and happenings and whatnot, and we'll arrange meetups and whatnot, and even some live content we're looking to plan in the future there. So certainly tune in to Sparta HQ Network as we want to improve and enhance our coverage of Comic-Con when we're there and whatnot. But let's just go around, just get everyone's sort of final thoughts on it. So yeah. So go ahead.
Here's my final thought. I will say it was not only a great event, it was a cultural event. I believe any YouTube crew would like to be a part of that type of event. I caught a couple of them. I was honored to meet a couple of my favorite wrestlers and some of my icons. It's a blessing. I will say, if you want to be a part of the type of event, plan a year in advance. Figure out your budget. Figure out how you'll go about it. Get that costume done 6 months in advance. But everyone who prepare for the Comic-Con or Anime Con, they will tell you they plan between 6 to 9 months to get their costume ready. And it will work. But you will love it when you get there. Other than that, it's great for all ages, from grandpa to grandma, all the way down to the grandkids, and so on and so forth. It's a great place to be. That's my final thought.
Awesome. Right. Anton?
My final thought is I'm glad you guys had a great time, and now I'm definitely going to have to start planning to come next year to go to Comic-Con. I have friends who've gone and they've shared pictures, and I'm glad they do, and I know they had a great time. And shout out to them for taking the time out to go and the planning and everything else. Shout out to a lot of the people, definitely the people who put it together, the people who work behind the scenes to get everything set up, to get everything going. A lot of the sets, setting up the stage for the panels, setting up the booths for the vendors bring their stuff in, the whole 9 yards. You got to give a shout out to those people for getting everything ready before people come in and cleaning up once everything is done, because I know that's not something that happens overnight. You got to give them a lot of credit. I definitely got to give them a lot of credit to that. And one last thought. I've been a big fan of comic books and everything else, anime, a lot of this stuff. And I remember, ironically, watching a DC movie that I have in my library. It was called Justice League Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real interesting spin if you ever get a chance to watch it. And one of the things that they did at the end when the movie ended, they posted a tribute to a writer by the name of Dwayne McDuffie. He was one of the first and one of the few Black comic book writers who was involved in DC and helped lay the foundation for characters such as Black Lightning and Static Shock. So if you get a chance, I tell people watch the movie, and if you get a chance, look him up, and you'll see a lot of cool things about what he did. And that's all I gotta say. Those are some words we're thinking about.
Awesome. Pete, closes up.
Till next year, we'll be back at it.
Sounds good, guys. Well, again, we want to thank you guys again on our call-in show. We'll get back to regular topics on the Gray Area show again, but just had it. Yeah.
If any of you guys are an anime fan, come to us on Wednesday night for Anime Unlocked.
Anime Unlocked. That's on the Sparta HQ Network Wednesdays at 9:30. You guys start 9:30 Eastern Standard
9:30 Eastern Time.
9:30. Awesome. Well, again, gentlemen, always a pleasure. Certainly looking forward to next week's show. You guys take care and continue watching. If you follow us on Facebook, social media, you'll see our postings up there on Comic-Con this year. But yeah, certainly a great place to be. So you guys enjoy the rest of your week. From us, from Anton, from the Bear Paw, Black David, from come on, man. Ready? The Sparta HQ and I, Mr. Bennett, as always. You guys again enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.
Have a safe one, guys.